Hey everyone, good old JM here, and I'm sad to share with you the passing of Bobby the Brain Heenan. The news broke earlier today, September 17th, 2017, the age of 73. Bobby Heenan, probably, arguably, actually, no, there's no argument. Bobby Heenan is the greatest manager of all time in professional wrestling. From the AWA to the WWF at the time and WCW, although he was mainly part of the broadcast team, but he carried over everything that he accomplished previously, and it showed in his talent behind the microphone as he shared the broadcast team, shared with Tony Schiavone and another legend in Dusty Rhodes, Mike Tenay, Scott Hudson, just to name a few. This man battled two forms of cancer, one being throat and the other lung. For those who were fortunate enough to meet him later on in life, way after retirement from pro wrestling, you all know you all know how, or better yet, what the price was that he paid by defeating throat cancer. But Bobby was, well, I'm speaking as if I knew the man personally. I did meet him a couple of times in person at conventions, meet and greets in New York City. But we almost feel as if we did because he spent the majority of his adult life in front of a camera on television once, twice, three times a week on syndication pro wrestling TV where we would hear his voice or he would be managing someone, especially well known the Bobby Heenan family. But I was gonna say, uh, Bobby Heenan, he was a fighter to the end, and apparently there were some health complications. It's too early to determine exactly what happened, but what's being floating around right now is that there were some health complications. He he canceled any future appearances later on in the fall to see if he would feel better enough to maybe attend or at least reschedule. But that's not going to happen now. So as a fan, there are so many memories of Bobby Heenan, so many good times. There were some bad times, and of course there were more funny times than anything else. You see, in throughout the '80s and a little bit of the early '90s, pro wrestling was very different compared to today, where Bobby Heenan never had to plug hashtags or websites or apps, anything like that as we hear today. And it's part of the job today. I get that. I'm not trying to bring anything down now because that's not what this bit of a tribute video I'm putting together is about. If you're watching and listening to this, I would like to know what is your favorite Bobby Heenan memory. It could be anything. It could be his best quotes behind the microphone, his in-ring work, outside as a manager, and it's kind of funny. I'd like to share one bit of memory right now. And just yesterday, I was watching WrestleMania 9, and during the opening and introductions of the commentators, first it was Jim Ross, and then we had Macho Man Randy Savage being carried to the ring, and I believe they called it a limousine from the time of Julius Caesar's, but I could be wrong. but it looked like a flatbed, but they called it a limousine. But anyway, and then came out Bobby Heenan sitting on a camel, but he was facing the wrong direction, and he was so high up there that he was showing expressions of fear and wanted the camel to stop to put him down. But he rode the camel all the way from the entrance down to ringside, and the camel looked like he almost tumbled the first time, but I think he must have missed his spot or his mark, the camel. So he stood back up again and then kneeled down low enough for Bobby to climb off. And apparently he lost his equilibrium and couldn't stand up, and Bobby collapses. And I don't know if this was part of it or if Randy Savage decided just to go a little bit off script, but everyone's wearing a toga, and as Bobby was trying to get up, he was basically bent over, trying to collect himself, and here comes Randy from behind and pulls up over his toga. You see Bobby, we see a side of Bobby we never seen before in his Fruit of the Looms. I thought that was probably pretty hilarious. Going on Bobby Heenan's reaction there. Again, I'm not sure if that was part of it, but it made for a great moment as the broadcast team went on to call the matches for WrestleMania. And again, as a fan, it's very heartbreaking. We all hope that Bobby would be with us just a little while longer, but maybe looking back, it might have been a selfish wish or request. But we can only show love and support for his family right now, as they're dealing with a very difficult time. And this is all we know right now. Again, the news broke earlier today, and we lost another great legend in Bobby Heenan. He was very entertaining. He was very, very funny. He carried so much knowledge of the sport, of the business of pro wrestling, and it showed. As you glance through these photos that I randomly picked, these were great times, and personally, I was very happy to have known the character of Bobby the Brain Heenan and the man who portrayed him. He'll be sorely missed. I'm going to assume there'll be an acknowledgement on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, as even WWE.com broke the news as well. He led a lot of great men to great careers and even championships. Almost a early version of what Paul Heyman is today, but there are differences, but not too many. Of course, the biggest one is Paul Heyman only advocates for one Brock Lesnar, while Bobby Heenan managed so many different characters, so many different athletes. As you go through these photos, Brainbusters, Haku, Mr. Perfect, Andre the Giant, Ravishing Rick Rude, Ric Flair, among others. Just Hercules. There are so many, and there were many more. So just so many names to mention, but I just wanted to come in here and share my thoughts and share my memories of Bobby Heenan. I'd like to express my prayers and condolences to the Heenan family, and his suffering is no more. And may he rest in peace. Feel free to share your memories of Bobby the Brain Heenan in the comments below, and share with the rest of us. What was your favorite Bobby Heenan moment? And once again, Bobby Heenan will be missed, and he's in a better place. Until next time, this is Good OJM.